All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the Malzberg panel. And on said panel today, Brad Hirschfield, author of You Don't Have to Be Wrong for Me to Be Right, president of CLAL, and Adam Thompson, senior partner and owner of the law offices of Adam M. Thompson and criminal defense attorney, syndicated talk show host. Okay, I'll start with the lawyer, even though there's nothing illegal about this. George Stephanopoulos, who, in my opinion, has always been a Democratic operative from the from the get-go. George Stephanopoulos, because he got caught, admitted that he donated $50,000 to the Clinton Foundation. Then later today, it came out it wasn't $50,000; it was $75,000. Now, Adam, here's a guy who has done stories and interviews for weeks and months regarding the Clinton Foundation without ever disclosing that he had been a big contributor to that foundation. He's had nothing but praise and admiration for Hillary Clinton and her run for the presidency, and of course over the years for others. Now he's thankfully taken himself out of the running to do any moderating of any debates, which is the right thing to do. What should happen, if anything, to George Stephanopoulos? By the way, ABC says they stand behind him. He made a mistake. Here we go again with the mistakes.
I don't know if anything's going to happen to him, but I mean, this really throws another major news anchor into the mix, a la Brian Williams, but in a different way. Brian Williams exaggerated stories that he was involved in and sometimes even outright lied. In this case, this is a situation where he was donating money to a candidate, supporting them, and then, unbeknownst to anybody, doing interviews of which many were very favorable to the Clintons, whether it was Bill or Hillary, as she now goes on the campaign trail. This is all about three things: credibility, character, integrity. As a news anchor, you either have it or you don't. Once it gets called into question, if people are now going to start questioning his appropriateness in how he handles certain stories involving the Clintons or will in the future, then what's his value as an anchor from that point forward? Just like Brian Williams, it's now questionable.
Brad?
So I think Adam made the right points here. I do think we should be clear about one thing. He didn't make donations to support the candidate. He supported their philanthropy. But I don't think it really matters. No, that's the facts do matter.
You don't know why. That's what he said.
No. It's not why. What he gave money to was a philanthropy.
Well, wait a minute.
The facts do matter, Steve. You got to use the facts. That doesn't mean I'm going to defend him.
Wait a minute.
Let's go with the facts.
No. So you're saying that everybody who's ever given to the Clinton Foundation is only given to the philanthropy? They could have been buying favors. He could have been buying favors.
We don't disagree, but what Adam said, and I rarely disagree with Adam, but here we got to be clear. He didn't give money to support a candidacy. If you're asking me, do I think what he did is wrong? Of course what he did is wrong. I think the most egregious error here is that he actually said, well, I kind of forgot. What's interesting is he would have had to forget 3 times. He didn't make a one-time gift. He made 3 $25,000 commitments. So there's one of two possibilities. Either he is so fabulously wealthy that a $25,000 gift he would forget like I would give 25 cents, in which case more power to him, but he still failed, or he should really come clean and say, here's the thing. I have been connected to this family for the better part of my adult life.
Which family?
To the Clinton family. And I have supported them politically and philanthropically, and it's not that I forgot. I made a terrible mistake, and really there are a whole bunch of settings now.
Oh, you're saying what he should have said.
What he should say.
I thought you were telling me you've been collecting.
No, I wish.
I thought I missed something somewhere.
No. I wish that was the case. It ain't the case. But that's what he needs to do. For me, it's always the case. The failure to really take responsibility for it is actually worse than the original sin.
Who would win in a race between Hillary and Michelle Obama? We'll tell you when we come back. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're rejoined by the panel, Brad Hirschfield and Adam Thompson. And all right, let's talk about this fictional matchup, which was presented, I think it was a Rasmussen question, Hillary against Michelle Obama. Now, Hillary does very well against Michelle Obama, trashes her, in fact, with the overall population. But when it comes to the African-American vote, it's 44 to 36. I want to make sure that I read right. 44 to 36, Michelle Obama over Hillary. Brad, does this just speak to the fact that you know, I mean, I know it's not 98-2, but does this just speak to the fact that blacks will vote for blacks?
No, I don't think so. I think it speaks to the fact that race remains an issue in this country in lots of different ways
So
for
you're
lots of
saying
different
yes.
people. No. What I'm saying is it's actually quite neck and neck. If you look at the poll numbers in general, what you see is that most people, black, white, Hispanic, it doesn't matter, are deeply uncomfortable with the idea of one Obama handing off to another Obama. But there's more credibility for doing it because we seem to live in an era of Bush, Clinton, Bush, Clinton. So I think the larger question here is, have we gotten to a place in politics in America where there's a small handful of families that become dominant and then people really don't get into the game?
That's ancillary. That's a red herring to this question, Adam. The question is, how the heck does Michelle Obama get 44% of the black vote to Hillary's 36 in a matchup with, between the two? You know, when Michelle Obama's never done anything, you know, except plant gardens, and I mean, not to, you know, I know she worked for a big hospital after her husband became state senator. I know was an attorney, the whole thing. But politically speaking, how does that happen unless it's identity politics?
No, I got to flick on the reality switch here. You know, when I go to court and I try cases, I wish it wasn't this way, but race is still the biggest issue probably in this country. And when I represent an African American, I want African Americans on the jury because they relate to them, they identify with them, and they will understand that person's perspective. Race usually goes with race. White, white, black, black, Hispanic, Hispanic. A lot of people don't want to say that that's the truth, but that's the truth. It's no difference when they're going to go in and they're going to vote. You know, the Democrats usually get the minority vote. The white vote goes towards the Republicans. Everybody knows that. Everyone discusses it, but no one wants to talk
but
about
that's
it.
not. But if it's a white Democrat, it's not a black. In other words, you know, in the presidential election, not once but twice, whites got Barack Obama elected. So that flies in the face, Brad, of really with some of what Adam's saying. It might be true in court. It might be true to an extent in politics. But Obama got elected with the white vote.
Wait, Adam, I'm going to back you up here, so don't worry about it.
Wait a minute. Let's go to Brad.
I'm actually going to back you up, Adam.
Obama got elected twice with the white vote.
No, Obama got elected because he ran a campaign that got elected from blacks and whites. Blacks are a minority. The key is really what Adam said. Race remains an issue in this country. And it turns out that people at the extremes of this country either like to play that overly much or deny it altogether. The fact of the matter is race remains an issue, and we got to deal with it.
Adam?
Got to deal with it. It's the bottom line, though. It's true.
Yeah, well, of course we have to deal with it. I understand that. All right, let me ask you about Marco Rubio. And first, Jeb Bush. Let's go. Supposedly, Marco Rubio cleaned Jeb Bush's clock at the Council on Foreign Relations. Jeb Bush was flubbing. He was making mistakes, and Rubio just hit it out of the park. But to this issue of Jeb Bush, and oh my God, he said, you know, I'd go into Iraq. Sure, I would. So would Hillary. To answer the question that way, now granted, he should have been better prepared, but I think he misheard the question. I think he interpreted it as knowing what we knew then. Would you have gone in? Otherwise, he never would have said, and by the way, so would Hillary and so would the others who voted to go in. So it was obvious to me he misunderstood the question. Having said that, he then clarified it, quote unquote, 3 times before he came up with the correct answer. And Brad, that shows to me a real lack of readiness, because that's the first question you're going to be asked by the left.
So I would start, Steve, with the first half of your answer and agree with you completely. It's so clear when you watch the interview. It's exactly what you said. He thought he was asked, had I known then what we knew then, would I make the same decision? And the answer was yes. And that's all that happened there. Look, his own protege, Marco Rubio, who does seem to have a better command of foreign policy issues, at least right now, has said that Bush is one of the smartest guys he's ever met and was actually his mentor. So make of that what you will.
All right, Adam?
Well, listen, is anyone surprised that another Bush was flubbing reading a teleprompter or mispronouncing names of foreign diplomats or people in other countries? We've been there, done that, and seen it already.
Adam, let me tell you something.
People are done with
I will take George W. Bush, a man who loves this country, a man who is sincere and does things because he believes it in his soul and he believes it in his heart, and who does everything he ever did was because he believed it was in the best interest of the United States of America. And by the way, had better grades than John Kerry when the two ran against each other, as it was revealed, over anybody you want to put up there.
Well, I think Bush may have good intentions, but good intentions and making good decisions don't always agree.
All right, Adam Thompson, Brad Hirschfield, got to go. We're back next with Congressman Lee Zeldin. Don't go away.